So how exactly do off-chain computers and machines communicate with the blockchain? Well, you might have already heard of the term remote procedure call, or RPC for short, and it's possible you might have even made your own decentralized application and not realize you were using an RPC. But if you want to learn more about what they do and how they work, then you're definitely in the right place here. So essentially, in order for an off-chain source to communicate with the blockchain, there has to be this middleman, which is referred to as an RPC, that exists between a decentralized application and um, a machine that's running a validator node or some sort of blockchain node here. And often it'll be the same machine that's running both the node and the RPC at the same time, pretty much. Um, so basically, what's happening is a decentralized application or some sort of off-chain, machine will be sending a request to the RPC, and the RPC will be then forwarding that request to the actual node that's running a live instance of the blockchain. And then in return, the node will send a response. That response will get forwarded along back to its original source. Um, when you're submitting a transaction, basically it could be anything from just sending, let's say, Ethereum to interacting with a smart contract, whatever it may be. You're sending that as a raw transaction, and then once the transaction has been received and subsequently mined by the blockchain, then it'll send back some sort of receipt. And you can also set up an application to just listen for events that are being broadcast from the blockchain. So if you have some sort of trading bot or arbitrage bot or liquidations bot, whatever it is, and you want to listen for certain events and filter out the other ones, then you can set up a script for that. And then the RPC will be listening for these events from the blockchain and then forwarding back to you only the events that you're subscribing to. And there's different kinds of RPC options that you can, you have basically, you have the free ones that could be a great way to start, but they are usually rate limited and they could get throttled at certain times, become very slow. If it's malicious, RPC, they could even be just kind of, mining your data, so to speak, just kind of watching what you do and monitoring you, which is not so great sometimes. But if you're really serious and you want to run something that's fast and reliable and, a bit more private, so to speak, then you would want to go with a paid option, either Infora or Alchemy. And just a disclaimer, I'm not, being compensated by either of these two companies. It has nothing to do with them. Just they're the two main ones, pretty much though. And if you have the option of running your own node, that's probably the best actually. That's the most fastest way to communicate with the blockchain. There's no latency if you're running it on your own machine, or very little latency, I should say. There's no risk of going through a middleman that's going to be spying on you. And plus, once you meet the initial requirements to running your own node and pay that initial overhead, then that's essentially all you're going to pay at that point. You're not going to be paying a company for Alchemy in addition to running your own node. So if you want to find a free one, though, there are sites like chainlist.org where you can kind of just filter by which network you're looking at, and then it'll show you some sort of statistics about how private they are, the score in terms of the latency, and so forth, which is great. Like I said, if you're running a public application and you're just doing it for your own private use and you're still in the experimental stage, then this is a great option. Alchemy is the one I've used the most. They have a really good free tier. You can see they work with a lot of well-known companies in the Web3 space. And then the other option here would be Infora. And I guess at some point in the recent past, they were acquired by MetaMask. And once again, they have a pretty impressive portfolio of companies that they work with. And they have a lot of different blockchains that you can get access to. So essentially the way it works is you would make an account, they give you an API key, and then you would just plug in that API key into the RPC URL. So the URL would look something very similar to this, but you would just append your API key at the end, and they would give you a very easy way to copy and paste the complete URL with the API key into your project. And of course, you don't want to share that API key with anyone, otherwise you could end up with a pretty big bill, expected bill. But in any case, that's pretty much what an RPC is in a nutshell there. It's essentially an API or middleman type of service that allows you to send requests to them, and they'll forward it to the blockchain, and then they'll forward back the data from the blockchain back to your original, machine, wherever you initiated the request from. So I hope you guys found this information useful and hope to see you in the next one.